that's that model, right? And it seems pretty seamless, right? You've got all this focus on global poverty. I went and volunteered all over the world, so I understood what I was doing, and then I created this business. So it seems perfect, right? But this is where I want to have reality and authenticity with you that you might face. I hope you don't, but you might face some stumbles or challenges along the way. Or how does it take to build something like this? For me, this kind of became a little bit of a midlife crisis at age 25. At least I got my midlife crisis over with early. I encourage you to get it over early and find out what you love to do early rather than waiting to your 50s. I have friends from Duke who went down the law pathway. They didn't really necessarily want to do it, and now they've got debts and they're doing something that they don't want to do. One of my greatest hopes in speaking to people is that you do find what you love to do. Hopefully you can find that. And it's not easy. It does take courage to try to do that. So here's what happened. It's not as seamless as it looks. I left 4 jobs in 4 years. When I graduated from Duke, I was out of work for a year. I worked as an executive assistant unpaid. I supported myself by being a step aerobics instructor and counseling recovering alcoholics on Skid Row. I was fired as a waitress in Venice Beach because my hand shook. I always wanted to be a waitress and to serve and be service oriented. My hand shook when I was serving the meals and I got fired. I started a business that didn't get off the ground. I was turned down by a PR firm because I wasn't qualified. I took 6 personality tests to figure out what I wanted to do, and most of them conflicted. Some of them said I should be in music, some said I should be a teacher. There was no social entrepreneur for the personality test. So I'm not saying you shouldn't try these things or do personality tests, but what I'm trying to show you is I really had to get my hustle on into work and to try to find what I love to do. And so it's not necessarily easy. You might have to, it's not like universal giving popped out of a box when I graduated from Duke. I left 4 jobs in 4 years. That's not, that's not exciting. For me, I wanted to be on something that I really love to do. But what I did was listen to my dad. And my dad said to me when I graduated from Duke, he said, I want you to find something you love to do and do it with excellence. That's what I want you to do. And so if you can drive on that, if you can do it, that's what makes your life so enriching if you can. Tougher challenges ahead. There was no industry for me. It would be like trying to go into blockchain 3 years ago. There was confusion in terminology, social philanthropy, entrepreneur philanthropy, that people would say to me, I don't understand what you say you are. I don't know what you are. What do you mean being a social entrepreneur? They don't challenge that today, right? If you say you're a social entrepreneur, that's embraced and it's positive. Back then it was kind of taught hostily. There was no social entrepreneurship classes, master's degrees. There was 1 to 2 early leaders, and my friends were all on track to be in a certain track of lawyers and doctors and MBAs, and I felt like there was no track. So how do you have strength in such times? When you're building your business, you have to go back to your story, go back to your history, and watch industry innovation because it will help you. So part of it's inside yourself and your story, and part of it is also being observant about the industry. So for me and my story, I had to go back to that cruise ship and go back to the cul-de-sac and make sure that that could motivate me every day despite the challenges of building universal giving. I had to go back to my values and look at my values. And this is what I was telling you about what my dad told me. And he said, I want you to, I don't care what you do, but I want you to find something that you love and do it with excellence. And so that's what I strive to do with my life. And find what you can in those values that really help you, and you have a model, someone who believes in you to help you do that. And then watch industry innovation. When I first got started in this, I started businesses very young, starting at age 10. 1996, the web. This was amazing. Before, where were volunteer opportunities? They were tacked up on a wall, in your library, at the PTA, on a lamppost. I mean, seriously, there would be volunteer opportunities when you'd walk down the corner and someone would put them up on that. So imagine how I fell in love with the web. Whoa, we can connect en masse thousands of people to volunteering and giving opportunities. Think about how that blows your mind. How does it blow your mind today with machine learning, AI, blockchain? What are those possibilities? So I just encourage you to think about look at technology and look at how it can really help you. That was the day I realized that I could scale. It wasn't going to be Pamela Hawley going across the world and volunteering in these different countries. We could scale getting other people. So I encourage you to think about that in your business if it's relevant. How are you going to scale? How will it help you in scaling? And that was really the genesis of universal giving. So I encourage you in these tough times, be relentless to find what you want to do, and then realize that it affects everything you do, every person you meet. It shapes who you are, and you can live with a certain life. because you own this. You fought to find what you love to do. You fought to be your best self. So I just turned it off. Sorry. Oopsies. Okay, whoops, I turned it on again. Smart, I'm good at technology. All right, great. So because you love what you do, now you have the energy to face startup mode. If you have your story, if you know who you are, if you know your values, and by the way, Universal Giving has a set of values, measurable results, inspiration, trust, listening. We have those values. But what I realized is you also have to have them for yourself. So Pamela Holly, I have a mission statement, and I have values for myself too. If you do that diagnosis on yourself, what are your values, what's your mission statement, and then those for your organization, then you're gonna have those guiding lights the whole way through. So don't just do it for your organization, make sure you have a mission statement and values for you. So here's what it took, reality of what it took for me in startup mode. I worked out of my home for 2 years without pay. That was my reality. I lost the business plan and could not recover on the computer. I had to rewrite a 60-page business plan from scratch again. Used $84,000 of my savings to launch. It shows I had skin in the game. When I went to funders, I told them I was invested and I was using my own money. I built a team of 90% of pro bono volunteers for the first 18 months. Be super scrappy as much as you possibly can. We had to fight a lawsuit regarding our name, very tough in the beginning. It affected our funding and made us very, very scrappy. By the time I launched, guess what hit me? 9/11. Do you think anyone wanted to volunteer after 9/11 or give internationally? For 2 years, we just needed to exist before people started to open up to giving it internationally. So what do you do in situations like that? You've still got your guiding lights. You know why you're doing this. You have your mission. You have your organization's mission. You know that long-term, your fundamental belief is that people should be giving and volunteering all over the world. Even if 9/11 happens, you're going to stick through it and keep going through it and get through it till people's hearts opens again. Because for 2 years after that, no one wanted anything to do with international. U.S. just became all closed in. But I knew my country and I knew that we would open up again. We're multicultural. As imperfect as the United States is, we do embrace different cultures on a certain level. So your personal story allows you to succeed yourself, but then go back and help others. This isn't just about you. You're going to tell your story to someone else. Think about creating this business so then you can help someone else in their business along the way. So the key to life when we think about this, we've got a lot of these different things, all these plans on degrees and choosing all of this, but really what the key to life is gratitude. We have to constantly maintain gratitude that you got into Hult, gratitude that you're part of one of the most amazing multicultural universities here, gratitude that you have the ability to decide what you want to do. There's so many people in the world that don't get to decide what they get to eat. They don't. They just eat the same thing. When I was in El Salvador working the earthquake crisis there, I was working with a lot of the people who had been in the Civil War. And they always ate rice and beans. That's all they had. They never tasted anything else. That's the food that they had every day. So we have so much to be grateful for. So be grateful if you have classes that you can take and sports to play and a place to sleep and a pet dog or a cat or an iguana, or if you have friends and family, teachers you admire, an opportunity to get an education. How can I be grateful if my work didn't save on my computer, or I have too much homework, or the cafeteria is out of soda, or I slept 3 hours this week? At the end of the day, all these things that seem to trouble you, they're basically luxury troubles. You need to set that mindset when you're starting this business. Those are luxury troubles that you got 3 hours of sleep or that your teacher didn't give you the grade you wanted. What we're facing with the rest of the world is people who cannot choose what they eat, they don't get to choose a career, they don't even necessarily get a job. So we have to come from an incredible sense of gratitude and then build businesses off of that, realizing how fortunate we are here. I'm sharing with you someone special. As I told you, this is my Oma, and you can just see that wisdom in her eyes. I spent almost every Saturday with her on the floor. We would be scrubbing the floor together. She put me to work in her home, and I hear all of her stories. So I would encourage you, whoever's in your life that way, maybe it's a friend, a great aunt, a grandmother, who is it that you scrub the floor with it? Who is that role model who can be there for you to teach you to work hard, have belief, and be that beacon if you can make it? My Oma is one of those people for me. So try to find that person in your life as well. So going back to your story, and going back to your life, marry your story, here I am, age 12, with your calling, which is universal giving, and try to find that pathway in your life to help build your business to do something that you love to do. so you can live that kind of spark and that joy of who you are. And I look forward to you succeeding in social entrepreneurship, or more importantly, I would just say in life, whatever that means to you, to be a successful person, to be a loving person, a kind person, an ethical business person. That's the most important thing, is who you are in life, and who you live, who you are as you live every day, not just the business you create. So when we're creating businesses, it's not just about the business plan, it's not just about the technology, it is very much about the ethics and the leadership you bring to that table. I don't know if you've heard many venture capitalists say this, but they will pivot business ideas, but not always pivot leaders. If they've got a good leader, and the leader thinks that, well, here's a better business idea, the VC will normally stay with them. And so the point is, if you've got good leadership, that leader can take different ideas to fruition, and the venture capitalist knows that. So be a great leader, be ready to pivot, and stay authentic and true to your story.